What's up, everyone? Welcome to the FAA podcast. Jimmy will be on sometime soon, hopefully. Um, but yeah, welcome back from NFL Draft weekend. It was fantastic watching all 257 selections go down. Um, we're going to talk a little bit about our favorite draft classes and who we thought kind of won the draft here. Um, and also some of our favorite picks and whatnot. But that'll be at the end of the show. We're going to start off, though, talking about UFL week 5. We are midway point through the UFL season 2025. Um, very exciting stuff. And these games are getting better. The parity, there are just two teams with one win. Everyone else has two or more. So it's really tightening up here. We have the XFL conference that just moved to a one-team lead there with the Defenders, but the Battlehawks and the Renegades one game back. And in the USFL conference, we got the Stallions and the Panthers right at the top there at 3-2, and then the Roughnecks there at 2-3. So um, everyone's in it pretty much right now. Maybe you want to say the Showboats are not in it, although they did get their first win this weekend. In this game here, Showboats 24-20, shocker in overtime, first overtime game of the season, and thought we might have a couple, but this was the only one of the week here. Dresser Wynn getting his first professional start. Fantastic. 58.6%. 235 yards. Touchdown. 4 carries, 11 yards there. He was really awesome. Has played a little bit, in the league. Was with the Rams for a bunch of preseason games and whatnot, but never started an NFL game. And first professional football start went pretty solid, if I do say so. Case Cook is facing his former team, played with Memphis last year. Not very good. He got battered all night, 45.5%, 145, 2 touchdowns a pick, 6 carries, 83 yards. Very surprised on that number from Cookus there. But, I thought Birmingham was going to win this game because of Cookus, and ended up they lost this game because of Cookus, essentially. But Deneric Prince led the game in rushing outside of Cookus there, 12 carries, 59 yards, and a 6-yard reception. You had Memphis wide receiver D. Anderson leading the game in receiving. He caught 4 of his 7 targets, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Other touchdowns from Birmingham going to tight end Jordan Thomas, wide receiver Marlon Williams there. So really offensive start. And this game ended up being the second lowest scoring game of the week of the 4 games here, which was kind of wild. But defensively, I'm going with Memphis. Defense tackle PJ Hall, 5 tackles, 3 solos, sack, tackle, floss, pass defense. What's up, Jimmy?
What up?
What you wearing there?
Colt McCoy Browns jersey.
That's what I figured. Yeah, Showboats getting their first win of the season. A shocker, to say the least, because they were 12-point dogs, plus 12. Showboats win outright in overtime. They went 2 for 3 on the NHL shootout style overtime that the UFL does. So they went 2 for 3. Stallions went 0 for 2. They did not need to do the last one there. Saturday with the Battlehawks over the Panthers, 32-27. This one was wild. Just scoring. I had Panthers money line in this one. Thought it was going to hit, man. They were coming back. They got the ball back and were looking pretty good. Bryce Perkins was just ridiculous throwing the ball in this game. 84%, 21 to 25 there, 235, 2 touchdowns, 4 carries, 14 yards. Etling, they were Michigan. I think if they wouldn't have done the quarterback switching in the beginning of the game, maybe they win this game. I don't know. Denny Etling, they started Perkins. They put Etling in the second series, and they were kind of doing series by series or drive by drive. And Etling was not playing well. 44.4%, just 4 of 9, 59 yards a pick. So Perkins ended up playing the rest of the game and almost worked out for him, really, but just could not get the last like 40 whatever yards they needed, 40, 50 yards they needed. Max Duggan, I was highly impressed. I thought the Battlehawks had no shot in this game because of Max Duggan, how he played last week coming in for when Manny Wilkins went down. He did not look good at all in the relief last week, and the start we got this week, they kept saying it on the broadcast, and I'll reiterate, it looked like Max Duggan that was the Heisman runner-up at TCU and led the Horned Frogs to the national championship game. That's exactly the Duggan we got in this one. 75%, 9 to 12, 124 touchdown. The biggest thing was his legs, 10 carries, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Powerful runner, looking like freaking Tim Tebow out there. Yeah, Toa Tawa was really good in this game for the Panthers. 15 carries, 74 yards, leading game in rushing. 2 touchdowns for him. 2 catches for 18 yards. He has 3 touchdowns in 2 games now with Michigan. Actually, getting carries. I think he's played 3. I think his first game he was only in for the 1-point conversion, and I think that was it. But the last 2 games he has 3 touchdowns combined. Hakeem Butler, finally back, has been injured through most of this season, but second game back and went wild. Only had 4 targets. Obviously, Duggan only threw it 12 times, but caught 2 for 124 yards, 2 touchdowns, 62 yards per reception there. 2 bombs from Duggan to Butler, and as you can see, that was that was the yards essentially. But actually, only one of them was from Duggan. The other one was from wide receiver Blake Jackson. Also, it was a 57-yard wide receiver pass there. COC Mariner also over 100 for Michigan. Caught 6 of his 8 targets for 111 yards. 11 targets for his teammate, wide receiver Malik Turner. Caught 8 for 71 and a touch. Gunnar Oaks also scoring a touchdown for Michigan. Defensively, it was not a ton. I'm going to go with Michigan defensive end Kenny Willekes, 5 tackles, 3 solos, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss. Battlehawks minus 1.5 win. Covered over 36.5. I had the under 39.5. Jimmy, or no, actually no, I had Panthers in this one. Never mind. This was the one I had under 39.5. The over cashed in the first half. Fantastic times. DC Defenders, though, get the win 37-33 over Arlington. Big win for the XFL standings race. Like I said, we are halfway through the season now. And we're starting to figure out who's going to make the playoffs here. Top 2 teams from each conference make it, and top team in each conference hosts. So, yeah, big one for the tie-breaking procedures there, and DC getting the win, taking the lead in the XFL conference by a game over Arlington and St. Louis. Jordan Ta'amu, again, his stats are so weird, man. I'm telling you. He's throwing 50%, right? And on the season, this man is, let me get it here. On the season, he is 49.7% completion. 88 of 177. but he's leading the UFL in passing yards. He has by far the most passing yards of any quarterback. Almost 200 or over 200 yards more than Luis Perez, who's number 2. Tom, who's also the only quarterback over 1,000 yards. Perez is close; he's 4 yards short, but 1,213 total passing yards through 5 games for Jordan Ta'amu. 308 yards in this one, 299 last week. This one, 4 total touchdowns, though. 3 touchdowns passing, 1 pick, 8 carries, 37 yards, a rushing touchdown as well. They converted their first 2-point conversion and 1-point conversion of the season in this game. Luis Perez, one thing that I have recognized Arlington does the best of anyone in this league is point afters. Luis Perez now has 10 2-point conversion passes on the season. It's wild. And he has done it. One game they didn't have any, but 3 of the 4 games they have converted a 2-point. He's had 3 2-point conversions. So what they do really well is point after attempt, and more often than not they go for 2. But anyways, Perez in this game really solid, 69.7%, 268 touchdown, a pick, 10-yard carry as well. And by the way, DC completed the largest comeback in UFL history in this game. They came back from, I believe it was 20. Well, they were down 11 zip, and then they were down 19-6. They were down 27-12. So 15-point affair there. And yeah, so the biggest thing was I thought they had no chance. The fourth quarter started, and they were only down by 8. But then Lucas Haversick kicked a field goal. So they're down 11, 12 and a half minutes to go. I did not think they had any chance. And then Ta'amu throws a pick after or actually no, that was before. Yeah. So they got it to a 5-point game, 27-22. And then Ta'amu threw a pick, I think it was. I don't remember. Anyways. Yeah, I didn't think they had any chance in the fourth quarter. They came all the way back and got the win here, 15-point comeback in the end. But yeah, DC on top, just like our boy Danny Potter had it. Again, I am perfectly fine picking against DC if they're going to win every game. See, you noticed, Jimmy, the one game. I picked them one time this year and they lost. See, I'm telling you, I just got to let Danny keep picking them, and I will not. Or no, I picked them twice. Never mind. They did beat Memphis week 2. But still, I'm only 1-1 out of the 5 weeks of picking DC. And Danny, on the other hand, he is 4-1. It's like he's picked DC every week. So, and he's lone wolfed them 3 out of 5 weeks so far. That's why he's leading the pick standings. Kalen Balaj led the game in rushing here, 10 carries, 79 yards, touchdown, a fumble for Arlington, 3 catches, -4 yards there. Davion Smith, he has also a very odd stat line. He has 4 rushing touchdowns on the year, but minuscule rushing yards and carries. Cornell Powell led the game in receiving for DC, 4 catches, 89 yards, touchdown on 7 targets. A lot of touchdown scores in this one. DC wide receiver Braylon Sanders, Chris Rowland, 12 targets for him, caught 7 for 61 and a touch. Deontay Burnett scored a touchdown reception here for Arlington. And defensively, how about the game for Arlington? Corner Ajene Harris, 6 tackles, all of them solos, tackle for loss, pick, 2 pass defense, and a forced fumble there. Yeah, Ajene Harris, he is one of the top players for Defensive Player of the Year, I would say. He has 3 interceptions this year, and how many pass defense does he have? 8 passes defensed, which leads the league. There's a bunch of guys though that I'm interested in for Defensive Player of the Year so far. Bradley and Nye for Birmingham, he has 4 sacks. So does Chris Odom for Arlington. He has 4 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. Pretty solid season for him. For DC, look at them. It's Derek Roberson, 4.5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks for Andre Mintz as well. Anthony Hines, 29 tackles, 19 of those solos, 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. Houston, Leon O'Neal would be my guy there. The safety, a pick 6, 2 pass defense, sack, 2 tackles for loss, forced fumble, 24 tackles. Memphis doesn't really have anyone. Michigan, you can go with DJ Miller, 2 picks, 4 passes defense, 13 tackles on the season there. San Antonio, not really anything eye-popping on their defensive stats. Memphis, actually, I would say Memphis, you could go with Steel Chambers. Steel Chambers leads the league in tackles, 47 tackles, 27 solos. And then for St. Louis, you look at Pita Tamapenu, 3.5 sacks, 3 tackles for loss there. And I would also include Chris Payton-Jones, 1 pick, 7 pass defense on the year. So those are kind of some of my guys for Defensive Player of the Year. Ajene Harris, like I said, up there for sure, as is Chris Odom on this list. Defenders +3, went outright over 39.5 quite easily, 70 points in this game. And then the only game not close this weekend, the Roughnecks absolutely demolished the Brahmas, 27-3. Your boy Kellen Mond did good, Jimmy. He did good.
A good Kellen Mond moment. Never thought I'd see the day.
Well, he got benched. That's why he did good. Yeah. So yeah, he actually didn't do. He actually technically did better than Garantano. But Jalen McClendon getting a start here, 27-3 win over San Antonio, 68.8% for McClendon, 171 yards, touchdown, or a pick, I should say, 8 carries, 17 yards. The San Antonio quarterbacks, like I mentioned, was not good at all. Kellerman, 44.4%, 4 of 9, 35 yards a pick. Jarrett Garantano was not much better, 6 for 15, 40%, 29 yards a pick, 3 carries for 24 yards. And see, I couldn't even get a win in this one, Jimmy, because freaking Danny picked with me on Houston. So I can't even get ahead. And plus I lost. It was my only win of the weekend anyways, because I lone wolfed Michigan. So I'm sitting right with y'all at 1-3 this week as Danny goes 3-1. Or yeah. At 3-1. My goodness. Yeah. He's run away. He's run away. He's done. He's not allowed back. We're kicking him out next year.
He did too well.
Right. It's the Patriot effect, yeah. or the Eagles now, just saying. Zaquandre White led the game in rushing, 11 carries, 40 yards, touchdown, 5-yard reception. Anthony McFarland for San Antonio tied him, actually, 6 carries for 40 yards. Justin Hall for Houston led the game in receiving, 10 targets, caught 9 for 68. And defensively, I'm going to go with Houston corner Corn Elder, 4 tackles, 2 solos, pick, 2 pass defense. Roughnecks +2.5 went out right under 39.5 easily, 30 points. No breaking news. Let's go to college football news here. UNC announcing they are going to play their season opener next season, 2026. in Ireland against TCU. So should be interesting. Always love to see the international college games in week 0 or week 1. So yeah. Again, this is going to be a little bit more news than we're used to, just because making up for no show this weekend. Yeah, I didn't feel like getting out of bed on Saturday morning, Jimmy. By the way, and I didn't have a.
I had to go to a hockey game to cover it on Friday night. I didn't get home till like midnight. I was like, I am not waking up early.
Yeah, I didn't have a co-host. Logan didn't respond. So, transfer portal here, big time. Syracuse wide receiver Trevor Pena. He has committed to Penn State. Massive get for James Franklin. They needed to upgrade the wide receiver position in the offseason, and this is a good one. Trevor Pena, very solid receiver coming over from Syracuse after he helped Kyle McCord lead the nation in passing last year. Tulane, bunch of moves here for the Green Wave. Linebacker Jesus Machado has committed to Houston. Corner Rayshawn Pleasant, All-American kick returner there. He is committed to Auburn, and QB TJ Finley is in the portal as well. That was a subsequent move to Northwestern quarterback Brendan Sullivan, or Iowa quarterback, I should say. Yeah, he was at Northwestern and then Iowa this past year. Iowa quarterback Brendan Sullivan transferring to Northwestern, so TJ Finley is out. Brendan Sullivan in at Tulane. Houston safety AJ Halsey, he has visits with Miami and Ole Miss. Georgia State quarterback Zach Gibson, he is on the move again. He's been to, this is, I think, his 5th school or 4th school, something like that. Wild. He has committed to FAU. Notre Dame quarterback Steve Angeli, he is committed to Syracuse. Oklahoma State quarterback Garrett Rangel is in the portal. Incarnate Word wide receiver Roy Alexander, he is committed to Texas Tech. Very solid wide out there. Texas State quarterback Giovanni McCoy coming in from Oregon State. He has committed to Temple. So this is a massive get for Temple. Temple has been just dog shit. Like, I mean, it's like they have been horrendous. I mean, they haven't been good since we were kids. Like, the Steve Adazio years at Temple. That's what I'm talking about there. When I was thinking about going there, that's when Temple was good. And I'm hoping Giovanni McCoy gives him a shot this year. I don't really know what they have around him, but I'm hoping. Always want to see the in-state schools, Temple, Pitt, Penn State, do well. Duquesne. Northwestern quarterback Brendan Sullivan, I mentioned Tulane. Louisville kicker AJ Vinatieri. He is in the transfer portal. Of course, that is Adam Vinatieri's son. So AJ on the move. I'm assuming that stands for Adam Jr. Not sure, though. Fact check it. FIU running back AJ Allen. He has committed to Tulsa, former Miami Hurricane there. Oregon State quarterback Ben Branson is in the portal, so I'm not sure what Oregon State has a quarterback anymore, really. Georgia quarterback Jaden Rashada, he has committed to Sacramento State. Nevada running back Savion Red has also committed to Sacramento State. So this is an interesting one. Not only that Jaden Rashada goes, but that Savion Red goes too. And it makes you think, what is going on with Sacramento State here? So they are in the FCS, right? And they are, I believe, in the process of transferring to FBS. I'm not 100% sure. Brennan Marion is the new head coach this coming season. But yeah, I'm thinking that they're going to move up to FBS shortly. Okay, well, right now it says Kennesaw State's going into their first full year of membership. Delaware and Missouri State are in their second year of FBS transition. They are playing in their conferences still, but they're going to join Conference USA in 2026. Kennesaw State in Conference USA, of course. But yeah, I'm not sure if Sacramento State's going to move up. It just made me think like why? Jaden Rashada had been a big time 5-star recruit, had the big issue, NIL issue with Florida, got released from that letter of intent, went to Arizona State, started a couple games, transferred to Georgia this offseason, and now in the spring portal goes to Sac State here. So I don't know. Maybe they just I don't know. Maybe they think Brennan Marion is the real deal here. Because I have no clue why you would go down. He is the coming in from UNLV as the offensive coordinator the last 2 seasons. Has never been this is his first college head coaching gig. So I would be concerned on that aspect. But yeah, I mean two great players though to get in the portal, Rashada and Red there. Oklahoma running back Gavin Sawchuk is in the portal. That's an excellent running back to get in the portal for anyone there. Jaden Ott coming in from Cal necessitated Sawchuk's leave there. BYU running back Hinkley Ropati is in the portal. Wide receiver Keelan Marion, he has committed to Miami. Great kick returner as well. SMU running back Jalen Knighton has committed to West Virginia. Washington State wide receiver Trey Shackelford committed to Tulane. And another intriguing one, Washington State running back Javensky Slenbaker, he has committed to UT Rio Grande Valley. So this is a team that is just getting into the FCS, I believe. Yeah, first year in the FCS. They did not have a team. This is a new football team, Jimmy. New football. It was a exhibition team last year. That's what they call it on Wikipedia, anyways. But yeah, it's in an era where you don't see new. It's very expensive to start a college football program. UT Rio Grande Valley, they are starting one. It doesn't hurt that you are in the UT system. That you're a branch campus of Texas. But yeah, so Rio Grande Valley, big time get for a new brand spanking new program. They are the Jimmy, you know what their mascot is?
It's tough.
I didn't know if you heard about it from basketball.
Rio Grande Valley. I'm trying to think something Texan and kind of funny.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, like lizards? I don't know.
The Vaqueros.
Vaqueros. Ah.
The Vaqueros.
Oh, right. Rio Grande. I mean, of course they would do something like that.
Yeah. And last one here, Stanford wide receiver Tiger Bachmeier is in the portal as well. So Andrew Luck losing a losing a wide receiver in the portal there at Stanford. All right, UFL news, couple transactions. Defenders, they released edge rusher Davin Bellamy, played just 10 snaps this year, mutual parting of the ways there. Stallions, before the game on Friday night there, they re-signed quarterback Jamar Smith, the former quarterback that won championship in USFL with Skip Holtz and co. Was the third quarterback in that game because of the Matt Corral injury. NFL news, Lions and Chargers going to play the Hall of Fame game. This one caught me by surprise. July 31st.
Yeah, it's early.
Hall of Fame game. I was like, what are we doing playing a preseason game in July? That's not right. That is not right. But sure, why not?
Why not?
Yeah, I'm into. I'm a freak. I love to watch Hall of Fame game. I watch all 4 quarters too. I don't care if it's my team or not. It's about the battles. It's about the roster battles. One more game of evaluation, man. It's all that matters.
I can't wait for my wife to be like, really? Putting on football in July? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, it's coming up. Turning on. I'll put it on in the background.
With the 2025 draft concluding, specifically the second round concluding, the Bryce Young trade has now finished. All the picks have been spent from that trade. So it ended up Panthers, they got Bryce Young with the 2023 number 1 overall pick. What did the Bears get? Wide receiver DJ Moore. 2023 first round pick that ended up being offensive tackle Darnell Wright. 2023 second round pick that ended up being corner Tyreek Stevenson. 2024 first round pick ended up being quarterback Caleb Williams.
Well, no, that was a Dunze.
What?
No.
I mixed them overall pick, yeah.
I mixed them up.
And then 2025 second round pick this year ended up being wide receiver Luther Burden III.
All right.
So 2 wide receivers, a quarterback, a right tackle, and a corner. Or a quarterback.
Yeah. So yeah, that's you gotta win a Super Bowl for Young to justify that trade. I mean, that's bad on paper because go player by player. You got Darnell Wright, who is okay. I've seen him a lot. He's okay at best. Maybe at times above average, but nothing more than that. Obviously, Tyreek Stevenson is great. Like, he's actually really good corner. DJ Moore is fantastic wide receiver. Caleb Williams, I mean, I don't know, maybe you disagree, but I think he's a quarterback with a far higher ceiling than Bryce Young. And Luther Burden, who's probably was a top 4 wide receiver in this draft, easily top 5. So, I mean, Bryce Young's got to be a Super Bowl champion for Carolina to justify this trade.
Nah, I'll start by just making the playoffs.
We'll start with that, but like by the end of his career, it's like, come on, you got to bring a ring here.
I think Dan Morgan's done a decent job of starting to get it around them.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that in a second. Commanders, they have gotten a deal in place for a new stadium. Going to bring Commanders back to DC, the site of the old RFK Stadium here, opening in 2030 is what the timeline is here, and this is what it looks like apparently. Glass roof.
Sounds like they want to lose the Super Bowl.
Hate it, Jimmy. Hate it.
You know me.
Why are we playing indoors?
You know me. Any stadium above the Mason-Dixon line should not have a dome.
Right. Well, and the thing is too, like, I mean, I guess it's not going to matter at that point because then half of the division is going to have a roof. But I don't. I would say that if you're gonna do one, why make it permanent? Why not have retractable? Probably because it's more expensive.
Probably more expensive.
And
yeah.
it doesn't look as cool aesthetically.
Yeah.
But
do you think they're going to call this one the RFK Jr. Stadium?
I think they're going to call it the new RFK Stadium.
Not Junior.
No. But yeah, Roof and DC stupid. Injuries. So these two were wild. That these, I don't think a lot of people like paid attention because they came out during draft weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But they're major. 49ers safety Malik Mustafa, excellent rookie season last year. Torn ACL in the season finale. And I still don't understand how we didn't hear about it until now. like that game was 4 months ago, guys. Why are we just hearing about it now? Not expected to be ready for 2025, the start of 2025. But obviously, with the timeline of that, should be ready. I would say if they want to make sure he's 100% ready, they'll wait until they'll put him on IR or whatever, and then wait to recall him till like mid-season. I would say like late October, just so he's really good to go. And the hope is that San Francisco's in playoff contention and that he would make a big impact coming back.
Yeah, I would say it's probably dependent on how the team is, how soon they want him back. Because if let's say after 5 weeks they're 3-2 or 2-3, it's we really need to pick it up. We need someone around. But if they're 4-1 or by some chance 5-0, it's we can be more cautious. We can wait because we're producing. We don't have to rush this guy back.
Yeah, for sure. And it's even more of an issue because he was supposed to be the replacement for Talanoa Hufanga, who left in free agency this year.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos linebacker Dre Greenlaw, former 49ers linebacker, he suffered a quad strain, originally reported as major and that it might affect the beginning of his season, but sources apparently closer to him said, no, just a strain. He's good to go for the start of the season there. 5th-year options tracker right here. So we got a bunch of teams making decisions on their 5th years. Saints wide receiver Chris Olave, they are picking his up. That was one of the more, I think, questionable ones because of the concussions he's had the last couple of years, and New Orleans is picking up Olave's option, though. He's on the books for 2026. Off the tackle Trevor Penning, they are not, though, so he will be a free agent after this season. The rest of these guys they have picked up: Giants edge rusher Kayvon Thibodeau, Lions edge rusher Aiden Hutchinson, and wide receiver Jamison Williams. Cowboys guard Tyler Smith, Panthers tackle Ikem Ekwonu, and Seahawks tackle Charles Cross. I think those two were interesting ones. Ekwonu has not really lived up to his top 10 pick status. To be honest, neither has Charles Cross. So I think both have injury concerns. Cross a lot more than Ekwonu, but definitely they need to play a lot better this year. Couple releases for the Steelers today. They released defense tackle Montravius Adams. So I don't know if this was because of the Derek Harmon drafting. I don't really get it, though. You already released Larry Ogunjobi earlier in the offseason, and now you release another veteran at the same position. I don't understand. You're going to run out of D tackles, man. I don't get it. And unfortunately, the Steelers also today releasing 2024 6th-round corner Ryan Watts, career-ending injury, apparently. I didn't read the full statement, so not exactly sure. I believe it's a knee, though, as far as I remember. I think he hurt his knee during the season last year, and and it's bad too because that's a big area of need for Pittsburgh was corner, and they didn't address a ton, anyways, in the draft if at all. I don't remember them addressing it in my draft needs here. They did draft one. Okay. Extension, the Lions last week, they signed safety Kirby Joseph to a 4-year, $86 million extension. Massive deal for a player that had 9 interceptions last year. It's ridiculous ball production. Obviously, probably will not replicate that. But nonetheless, really solid player on the back end there for Detroit. Bunch of signings. This is the bargain bin shopping part 2 for teams. You go through the draft, you're like, oh crap, we didn't get this position. We forgot. So now we got to look at free agents, and that's what a bunch of teams did today. Jags, they signed Dolphins edge rusher Emmanuel Ogbah to a 1-year, $5 million deal. Jacksonville, that was one of my needs from the draft, so it made sense for me that they did not address. Titans, they signed Seahawks wide receiver Tyler Lockett, 1 year, $4 million. $6 million max value there. That was literally right before the draft, like 30 minutes before. Steelers, they signed Texans wide receiver Robert Woods, 1 year, $2 million deal today. Nice solid veteran presence there. And wide receiver was one of the other things I had for Pittsburgh. They did not take any wideouts in this year's draft. The Panthers, I loved this one. They signed former Raiders wide receiver Hunter Renfrow to a 1-year deal. Absolutely love it. Was not in the league last year, wanted to come back, and it's really cool that the Clemson kid comes back, plays for the Panthers now this season.
Yeah, I think that's a great pickup for Carolina. I mean, you look at those top 4 wide receivers. It's now, Leggett, McMillan, Thielen, and now Renfrow. I mean, that's a really good starting depth, especially if Renfrow has at the very least retained his upside that he had with the Raiders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, slot demon. Coker as well. I think seemingly Carolina is done at what, like they don't have any wide receiver spots available. 1 probably. Mm-hmm. A lot of teams keep 6. They probably have 1 wide receiver spot available for like 7. It's probably 7 guys in camp that are battling out for 1 spot. Mm-hmm. The Packers, they signed Giants linebacker Isaiah Simmons to a 1-year deal. They visited with him pre-draft and eventually ended up signing him, which I didn't have linebacker or I did have edge as a need. He plays kind of both, but they did draft 1 edge rusher. So the Browns today, interesting, signing Ravens wide receiver Deontay Johnson to a 1-year deal. So making the AFC North tour, he's only got the Bengals to go, and he'll complete the sweep. But yeah, I mean, again, that was my number 1 need for Cleveland was wide receiver, and they didn't draft any, which was very odd. I don't know why they didn't. Probably because they were dumb and drafted 2 quarterbacks,
and 2 running backs. Don't forget that.
Right.
2 running backs.
I was actually okay with that because of what their depth chart was.
I guess. I mean, I'm still in the fan club of they should have brought back Chubb just for a 1-year deal, just to see who's healthy. But yeah,
obviously they don't think he is.
I guess so.
And it's very sad, dude. What is up with these? This is 3 now. This is 3 former Georgia running backs that have had career-ending knee injuries. Essentially, you look at it. Todd Gurley with the Rams was never the same when he went to Atlanta. Sony Michel with the Patriots, never the same. And now it seems like Nick Chubb's not going to be the same ever again either.
It's a curse, man.
I don't know. Hopefully not. Trevor Etienne just went to the Panthers, man.
Uh-oh.
But he was also not a high pick like those three were.
Yeah.
The later drafted Georgia running backs seem to do well. The Bills hosting Browns wide receiver Elijah Moore. So the Browns also, interestingly enough, placed the little used unrestricted free agent tag on Elijah Moore today. So if he signs anywhere, he will be counted for the comp pick formula for next year. I don't know why they had to tag him to do that, but yeah. I don't know. It was weird. All right, undrafted free agent signings. I should probably get the most recent list up here, at least per NFL.com. But the guys that I listed were from what I had seen before. So the Jets, Michigan running back Donovan Edwards, and Missouri quarterback Brady Cook. Makes sense. They didn't draft a quarterback, which I had as a need. Bucks, they got Bowling Green quarterback Connor Bazelak, Colorado safety Shiloh Sanders, which is just hilarious. Did you hear about the Shiloh Sanders stuff?
No, I didn't hear much of it.
Oh, it's fantastic. So apparently Dion was the agent for both him and Shador. And so Shiloh goes undrafted, where I guess there were some thought that he would be like a 5th, 6th round pick. But yeah, so he goes undrafted, very unhappy with dad. He fired Dion. He fired Dion as his agent, and he hired Drew Rosenhaus. And what do you know? He gets signed by the Bucks.
That's pretty funny.
The Bucks also signed LSU running back Josh Williams. Titans, love this. They signed Miami wide receiver Xavier Restrepo, so he rejoins Cam Ward. That combination is fire. Love Xavier Restrepo.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm so shocked he wasn't drafted.
Right, I don't know how that happened. 5 million wide receivers went, and he still didn't get. Florida offensive tackle Brandon Crenshaw Dixon also went to Tennessee. The Jags, they got Arkansas defensive back Danico Slaughter, Memphis quarterback Seth Hennigan, and Oklahoma edge rusher Ethan Downs. Cowboys got Oregon wide receiver Trayshawn Holden. They did not draft a wide receiver, which, again, my top need for them. Panthers got a couple wideouts, Miami wide receiver Jacoby George, and love this one, Texas A&M wide receiver Moose Muhammad III. Had to do it, man. Had to keep it in the fam. Moose and Muhammad's son. Love it. Absolutely love that he went to Carolina. Obviously not even close to as good as dad was. But sometimes that happens. Bears, they got North Carolina linebacker Power Eccles. Bengals getting Auburn quarterback Peyton Thorne and Notre Dame defense tackle Howard Cross. Broncos got Jacksonville State guard Clay Webb. I know you wanted him for the Vikes, Jimmy. I know. Lions got Syracuse wide receiver Jackson Meeks. Chiefs getting Clemson tight end Jake Brenningstool. Raiders got Minnesota edge rusher Ja Joyner and Kansas corner Mello Dodson. 2 very solid selection signings there for Vegas. Chargers. So the Chargers and the Vikings, they were the most populated on NFL.com, and the Saints, I guess. There's a lot more now, I think, on the – or no, I guess – oh, when was this updated here? Okay, yeah, yesterday at 1 o'clock. So okay, so probably there's a lot more undrafted signings that aren't on here. But anyways, Chargers and Vikings were the most populated on here. Vikings made a lot of sense. They didn't have that many picks. Chargers, I don't know why they signed a ton already, but the Chargers though, Florida State notables, anyways. Florida State quarterback DJ Uyunglele, Arkansas running back Rocket Sanders, Kansas wide receiver Luke Grimm, Syracuse linebacker Marlo Wax, Iowa State corner Miles Purchase, and Oregon corner Nico Reed. For the Vikes, Minnesota quarterback Max Brosmer. Nice for him. He doesn't have to go that far. Jacksonville State running back Trey Stewart, Texas wide receiver Silas Bolden, North Carolina tight end Bryson Nesbitt, Georgia tight end Ben Urasek, Wisconsin guard Joe Huber, BYU edge rusher Tyler Beatty, Georgia edge Chaz Chambliss, and Miami safety Michelle Powell. Jimmy, I'm just going to say Tyler Beatty's a ridiculous get.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm surprised you didn't even list my two personal favorite UDFAs for the Vikings. Offensive lineman Logan Brown from Kansas. Many people consider him the best lineman UDFA, if not some people even had him as the best UDFA of this class.
Well, he wasn't on there when I originally screenshotted it.
Oh, well, I just read it. I mean, he looks like an athletic freak, so I'm cool with that. I like that depth. And also another one I kind of liked, the Aussie from Auburn, punter Oscar Chapman. I think that's a good pickup. I'm not a huge fan of Ryan Wright. I think last year he wasn't the best punter. I think the Vikings need to get competition in the punting room, and I think the Aussie can do it. So those are two other really good ones in my opinion.
Can tell you I've never heard of that guy.
The Aussie.
I will say though, a couple of the other another wide receiver though, two other wide receivers that the Vikes got. Wide receiver Robert Lewis, all out of Auburn. I remember him more. He had more production at Georgia State than he did at Auburn last year. And Miles Price as well at Texas Tech. Good special teams player. A couple other ones here. Saints, Delaware running back Marcus Yarns, and Alabama punter James Burnip. And the Steelers got Memphis wide receiver Rock Taylor, South Dakota tight end J.J. Galbraith, Pitt kicker Ben Sauls, and Iowa safety Sebastian Castro. I absolutely love the Sebastian Castro signing. That's ridiculous value there, I thought. And yeah, again, I'm not seeing any additions really here on NFL site anyways that I can make out from what I had looked at right after the draft, essentially. Louisiana Tech wide receiver True Edwards going to the Rams there. Yeah, nothing else really popping out here. I was kind of surprised there weren't more tweets about UDFAs, but I guess it's kind of hard to keep track. I will say Bill's getting wide receiver Hal Presley, I believe out of Baylor, Oklahoma, something like that. Oklahoma State, I mean. And Quincy Skinner, Boise State wide receiver, going to the Falcons.
You know what player went to the Falcons, and I'm pissed. I'm actually pissed the Vikings didn't get Kobe Bryant, corner from Kansas. I was all over that guy. I wanted him with the Vikings last pick. I was genuinely disappointed not to see him get drafted by the Vikings, and I'm equally disappointed they didn't pick him up in the UDFA market.
Yeah, I know a lot of Steelers fans were mad. I saw online that the Steelers drafted Dante Kent with their last pick, and they're like, Kobe Bryant was available, and I forget what the other one was that a lot of people were saying. Like, bro, these guys were available, and we drafted Dante Kent. To be honest, I understand. I have never heard of Dante Kent out of Central Michigan, but didn't even know any Central Michigan players were in the draft this year. The Chippewas getting on the board. All right, let's go to the draft here. just blurt out who won the draft.
I think Tennessee did a really good job. I know it's easy to say Tennessee just because, hey, you had the first overall pick. I think like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, obviously the team with the first overall pick did the best, but I think they also did a great job of.
You've always.
Oh, sorry, I had an ad because I was reading there.
As you
Stop! No,
okay. You gotta mute the site, Jimmy.
I gotta mute it, man. My bad. But
right click and mute site.
My bad. But I mean, I love the pick of Kevin Winston in the 3rd round. I thought that guy was a 2nd-round talent. Gunnar Helm, I think, is a great tight end. Alec Ayomayer in the 4th. I thought that guy was a 3rd-round pick easy. Jackson Slater as a guard. I love Jackson Slater. I mean, I think that those are great picks. Plus, you got Marcus Harris from California and Mullings from Michigan. I think they really surrounded their young quarterback with a lot of talent. And I'm really interested to see how he does in his first season. I don't have another team off the top of my head where I'm like, ooh, I'm blown away by your draft. But I will say, I think my favorite value pick, and I said it when we were on our show, the live show, and I'll say it again. I think getting Tyler Warren at 14 for the Indianapolis Colts is insane value. I know a ton of Colts fans. I've been talking to them a lot leading up to the draft, and they were all telling me, like, man, I will trade up heaven and earth to get Tyler Warren. Getting him at 14, not having to trade up, and having basically all your picks the rest of the way, and then getting guys that are going to continue to make this team good. I mean, JT Tuimoloau, I always mess up saying his name, edge from Ohio State. I loved him, obviously a national champion. DJ Giddens in the 5th. I thought he was a 3rd. I had him going to the Vikings at 97 in a lot of mock drafts. And then Tim Smith in the 6th. I love Tim Smith. So getting him there, I think the AFC South did a really good job of this draft. But Colts and Tennessee really stick out. And I think the Colts had the best value pick with Tyler Warren.
I'll tell you, there was only 3 teams that filled every single draft need I had. And I understand that's hard to do with a lot of the teams because I had, 6, 7, 8 needs for a lot of the teams. But I'll just go alphabetical order here. First one was Baltimore Ravens. Granted, they had a lot of picks to fill all the needs. But when you look at it, I had guard as the number 1 need. However, they didn't address that to the last one, Garrett Dellinger. But what they did do, I really liked. They got safety Malachi Starks at 27, which I thought was great value. Mike Green at 59. I know he has off-the-field issues. Who in Baltimore doesn't?
Genuinely the most straightforward way to say it.
But yeah, Mike Green was a ridiculous value at 59. Love the Emory Jones and Carson Vincent picks in the 3rd and 5th rounds. Teddy Buchanan is tackling machine at linebacker in the 4th out of Cal. And then they addressed the corner on day 3 as well. They had 5 6-round picks, by the way. Mm-hmm. Bilal Cohn and Robert Longerbeam at 212, I thought was ridiculous. Him and Anais Peebles out of Virginia Tech at 210, D tackle, I thought was wild. And then I thought the shocker was Tyler Loop getting a kicker at 186 out of Arizona. Probably means the end is near for Justin Tucker. And they did end up getting a wide receiver as well, LeJontay Wester out of Colorado. That was, they filled every single need, and I didn't even have kicker on there. So that was the first one. If you have comments, you can go, or I'll go to the next one.
No, keep going.
The next one that filled all my needs was Houston. Loved the trade back. On day 1, they picked up a 3rd rounder from the Giants next year and subsequently moved a 3rd rounder. I don't know if it was theirs or the Giants later in the draft, which I did not like. Moving up for Woody Marks in the 4th, I thought was way of an overpay. But anyways, they filled all my needs. Number one was wide receiver for me, and they got two excellent wide receivers. They went to the Iowa State well a couple times. Jaden Higgins, Jalen Knoll. I do not like that it's Knoll, by the way. I like Noel better, but it's Knoll apparently. So Higgins and Knoll, I think that's a great way to do it because they already know how to work off each other and route combos and whatnot. And they do different things. Higgins is your big body jump ball receiver, and Knoll's going to be your slot guy, more possession receiver there. So I like their versatility and that they got two teammates there. Ursery, tackle out of Mini in the second round. I was not the highest on him, but they had to get O-line. Tackle was actually my last need for them. I thought they did a decent job filling in free agency for what they lost. I didn't really like the Jalen Smith third round selection, but it filled a need for me at corner. I don't know too much about him. Woody Marks filled the running back need for me, even though I didn't like the trade up. Safety, love getting Jalen Reed in the 6th from Penn State was ridiculous. They got quarterback depth at Graham Mertz too. Sure. I don't think he's that good, but they also got the interior D line, Keontae Hamilton out of Rutgers. Daniel Jeremiah apparently liked him, so I like him now. And they got the tight end I thought was really good value. 2 picks before the end of the draft. Luke Lachey. Can't go wrong drafting an Iowa tight end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the trade back was pretty smart in the first round. I think from the rumors I've heard, I think they really wanted Donovan Jackson. And when they saw he wasn't available, they knew the Giants wanted to trade up and get Jackson Dart. So they took advantage of that and getting, the third pick in the second round. Second pick. Yeah. Sorry. And getting Jaden Higgins, I think, is really good value. I'm a little surprised they went Higgins over Burden. If you're going wide receiver, maybe they just like the scheme fit. Maybe they like where he goes in the depth chart. But Higgins is very good. And then getting the offensive line pick in nursery when you couldn't get in, Donovan Jackson, I think that's pretty solid. So nothing really to complain about with this one.
Yeah, they had to get another big body outside receiver opposite Nico Collins after letting Stephon Diggs go in free agency. The last one was the team that Diggs went to, actually, that filled all my needs. The Patriots, I thought, did an excellent draft in Elliott Wolf's. I believe this is his second year as GM, first year for head coach Mike Vrabel. But, Will Campbell at 4 was solid, obviously. That was my number one need was tackle. They ended up getting 2. Guy I don't know a lot about him, Marcus Bryant, at the end. But then I thought it was excellent. I mean, getting Drake May picks and weapons. Travion Henderson in the second round was awesome. To pair him with Ramondre Stevenson, I thought was really solid 1-2 punch. Kyle Williams in the third round, I think, is going to be a sleeper, people. A lot of teams visited with him in the pre-draft. I really like Kyle Williams coming in here to New England as a third rounder. Jared Wilson, oh my goodness. To get the best center in the draft in the third round at 95th overall. That's awesome. He's going to slide in right away to the starting center spot. I have to believe in New England. And then day 3 was they went to the defensive side mainly. Craig Woodson, I didn't have safety as a need, but he's a tackler. Love him out of Cal. Loved Josh Farmer in the 4th. I thought was a great value. Filled the interior D-line need, especially with questions about Christian Barmore's health. Braden Swinson, another D lineman there, edge rush, or I guess outside linebacker, I should say. I didn't have edge as a need, but excellent value. I mean, we had mock drafts and Swinson was going in the 3rd, right? So getting him in the 5th was great. Andre Sporogalis, they got the kicker. That was one of my needs for New England, Jimmy. Kicker was one of my needs, yes. They did not have, I believe, a quality kicker on the roster. Just trying to check here real quick. Yeah, it was Parker Romo. That was the only guy on the roster. Vikings legend.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, so they had to get an upgrade over Parker Romo and Andres Borregales. He was one of the best ones in this draft. I really did not think there was going to be any skill position or special teams drafted this year. I just had not seen a ton of info coming up to the pre-draft. Ryan Fitzgerald out of Florida State was one guy that I did know about, and he did not get drafted. My guy Jeremy Crawshaw, I wanted him for the Steelers and or the Eagles, and neither of them got him. He was my favorite punter after I saw him boom the ball at Senior Bowl. And then they also got a long snapper, Julian Ashby, and then they filled the corner need. I had corner as one of the needs. Kobe, I hate NFL because they still don't have it listed. Kobe Minor, is that his name? Out of Memphis, Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Kobe Minor. And the guys on the NFL Network set, they were like, they're like, we did not see Kobe Minor getting drafted. They're like, he did not even really play in college. Like, he played like 3 games, I think they said.
That's that classic New England pick where you're like, what the hell? Who is this guy? And then he turns out to be like a Pro Bowler that helps him win a Super Bowl or something.
Yeah, apparently, like I said, apparently he barely played in college. But yeah, apparently there's something that Vrabes likes there in New England. I don't know. Just a couple other ones that I thought were excellent. The Bills, 3 picks at corner. That they hit that hard, and I thought they needed to. Loved to see that. Another one that I really liked was the Raiders. I thought the Raiders draft was really solid. They hit wide receiver hard. They drafted 3 of those. The Dolphins, oh my goodness. Love it. 3 interior defensive linemen. Absolutely needed it. Of course, I love my Eagles. I've gotten more in depth on what my Eagles draft was. I like it now more than I did draft day. The Seahawks also I thought did very well. Getting multiple players at interior O-line, wide receiver, and technically tight end, even though Robbie Alst is more of a fullback H-back out of Alabama. All right. Drafts we did not like. The jersey that you're wearing.
Yeah, I didn't like the Browns, which is crazy because Mel Kiper gave him an A+, which, by the way, biggest F of the draft is Mel Kiper. Like, he has the biggest worst grade of this draft. I mean, I'm talking expelled levels of bad. I mean, this guy made an embarrassment of himself, the draft process, and football itself. This guy ruined young kids' moments just to yell on TV. But anyway, back to the Browns. Yeah, I thought trading back from 2nd to 5th was really ballsy. And not to say they didn't get good value, they did. And I've said this before. I was a fan of picking up Dual Carter over Travis Hunter. That being said, I felt it was really weird to trade back in a situation where you have a top 3 pick. Now I get it. A little bit of me I kind of got it at first because a little bit of me thought, oh, okay, like this team probably really wants to get a quarterback next year. They're getting more, they're getting more draft capital. Jacksonville, even with Travis Hunter, maybe make the playoffs, maybe, and if then they're a first-round exit. But then they drafted 2 quarterbacks. Dylan Gabriel, which I thought was fine. Maybe early in the 3rd round, probably really early. And I didn't hate it. I was like, okay, backup QB. He's player of the year in the Big Ten, offensive player of the year in the Big Ten. There's some understanding there, but to trade up to get Shedeur Sanders. Now, we've seen it. We've seen it online. And listen, I don't want to get political on this pod. This is a football pod. This is not anything else. but just seeing people's reactions to him not being drafted, and it felt like a conscious effort to not understand why he was dropping. Is there talent? Sure, absolutely. But we saw all the things that anonymous GMs, anonymous team officials, and anonymous scouts say, like, hey, this kid had the worst pre-draft interviews I've ever seen in my life. This guy like made an ass of himself on multiple occasions, him and his father. And let's be honest, if teams don't want to deal with that, they won't deal with that. This is a professional league. And like I said, does Shador have talent? Sure. Is his talent worth that headache? For 143 picks, he wasn't. And I don't even think he was worth the 144th pick in terms of just the headache. The stories that I was hearing about how he basically walked around with his entourage everywhere, that he wouldn't take team interviews without his entourage, where he would wear headphones during interviews and have music playing. And the new story about Brian Dable being really, really upset with his behavior during their interview. Again, I think the Browns invited this on themselves, as they usually do. It's not like they couldn't learn from a guy like Johnny Manziel or anything. This is just bad. And I think my favorite part of the draft was seeing the draft room, cut to the Browns draft room after the pick, and it looked like no one was happy with the pick. And I swear to God, if we hear something about Jimmy Haslam pulling strings to get this pick made, Cleveland's gonna riot. Like, Cleveland already really hates Haslam, but like this would be like the icing on the, like, I'm talking like pitchforks raiding the guy's house, kind of like anger from Cleveland, if that's true.
Yeah, and it's not even like drafting two quarterbacks is a bad thing, because we've seen it before and it sometimes works out. Obviously, Washington did it. It worked out. Kirk Cousins was fantastic after RG3 got hurt. But in this scenario, I don't get it. You already drafted Dylan Gabriel, who's super accurate, which is the same thing with Shador Sanders. You're talking just strictly ball. Where are the reps? Like, I understand Deshaun Watson's not really going to factor in because of the Achilles, and he's not going to get on the field until who the hell knows when. But now you have four quarterbacks, and rookie minicamp, cool. Gabriel and Sanders, they're going to get all the reps. But once training camp comes, like, you got to decide, man. And obviously, most people, me included, I don't know about you, I think Joe Flacco is going to be the starter, with Pickett as the main backup to start. And then it's going to be Gabriel and Sanders for the number 3 spot. But Cleveland's going to have to keep four quarterbacks right to start for sure. I mean, and then you got to get rid of Pickett, essentially.
Yeah, and again, you look at their 5 quarterbacks, and it couldn't have been a worse situation for the Browns. Let's start with Watson, most overpaid quarterback in the league, team headache, cancer. Joe Flacco, you signed him and gave up a compensatory pick to Colts to get him. Kenny Pickett, you traded draft assets to get. Dylan Gabriel, a little bit of an overdraft, fine, but he's depth. Shador Sanders, second quarterback you took in this draft, and you traded up to do it. You gave up
the last pick they had.
And it's the last pick they had. You gave up draft capital for 2 quarterbacks on this roster. Both of them don't really have a great chance to start. Plus, you have Dylan Gabriel. And it's just, I don't get it.
Especially when you need stuff, right? Cleveland left me with wide receiver as the number 1 need. I had edge as the number 3 need they didn't address. Tackle as the number 4 need they didn't address. Corner as my number 6 need they didn't address. QB was my 7th need for Cleveland and last need, and they filled that twice. But I think that the moving back for Mason Graham thing, I'm okay with it. But at the same time, thinking about it, I think there would have been 2 better scenarios for Cleveland. You draft Travis Hunter at number 2, Again, that filled your wide receiver and corner needs for me. Or, okay, move back, take the first rounder next year, hope the Jacksonville sucks. But draft Ashton Genty, man. Like, running back was completely devoid, and I'm not saying I didn't like what he did. I think the Judkins-Sampson combo is really solid, because they do different things. But still, to be honest, I didn't like the Harold Fannin selection. It did fill a need. I had tight end 2 as a need for me. But again, not drafting a wide receiver anywhere for me was an issue. I didn't have linebacker as a need, and they went Schwarzenegger the top of round 2.
Maybe they want to convert him to edge, but I don't know.
I don't see it. He was a tackling machine. I don't know why you take that away. And I don't think a lot of people saw his pass rush moves. So I don't know.
Yeah, and another thing too, didn't they come into the draft with like 10 picks?
Yeah, I don't remember.
They had a ton of picks, and they ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They ended up with 7. I think they gave up too much to get what they ended up getting.
Yeah, I mean, I know they traded up for Sanders. They traded up. Let me see what they got here. So I have the transactions. Yeah, so they got 5 and 36 from Jacksonville. 94 was the Amari Cooper trade, and then they got 126 from Jacksonville as well. And okay, so yeah, they only traded up for one player, which was Shedeur.
Yeah. Plus, don't forget before the draft they traded up with Houston.
Right. Yeah.
It's just I'm still trying to wrap my head around exactly what Cleveland was trying to figure out. Because, as you mentioned, did they have need at quarterback and running back? Yes. But was it so much of a need that you double draft both of those positions and take away draft capital this year? I mean, let me look up Browns, undrafted free agents. Let me just see who they got. Because maybe this will make a little more sense. They did sign University of San Diego, Jasim Reed. Okay, I got the list in front of me. Okay, 2 corners, a safety, a tackle, a guard, a long snapper, a defensive tackle, a tight end, a running back, a wide receiver, and an offensive tackle. So, okay, I don't know. I'm like you. I'm dumbfounded. I don't really understand what exactly it. I think the funniest explanation was that I saw online is that it felt like the Browns just went on auto draft. And the auto draft just picked, the best player available on the media list.
Yeah. Well, enough Browns here. Let's go to I think there was really only one other one that I did not like, Jimmy, and you know where actually no, there was 2, I think. Yeah, 2 more. But the other one's going to be real quick because we're going to probably spend too much time on this one. I only have 27% my battery, Jimmy. I gotta unless I go get my charger, which I can while you go off. But because the other one, the second one, I didn't like, Jimmy. Your Vikings, man, did not understand. They left me with a ton of needs. No secondary. Why was no secondary drafted? Corner safety, my number 1 and 2 needs. No tackles drafted, which was my 5th need. Interior D line, or actually interior D line, they did get. My bad, I forgot. But no running back, which I thought they should have drafted depth, and no QB. I thought they should have drafted someone to maybe to have a chance to battle Brett Rippon for that backup spot. And again, another thing with the Vikings, like, what was interesting about them, they traded a couple times. They never acquired more picks than they traded, though. It didn't make sense. I think the one trade they went 2 for 2, and then another trade was the Sam Howell trade, which so they did get QB2, I guess.
Well, they did get
so they did get QB2, I guess technically they didn't draft one though.
No, they did. When they traded back to get picks from the Rams, picks
They got
201.
one though. They got
Yeah.
one extra pick out of their couple trades they did.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I thought they should have traded back more than that to acquire more picks.
Yeah. Yeah, even as a Viking fan, you saw my instant reaction. I didn't love it. I gave him C-. I'm almost still thinking of sticking with it. That being said, I love Donovan Jackson. I've learned to love it. I'm starting to like Ty Felton. Ingram Dawkins is an athletic freak. I saw that, RAS scores.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest thing for the Vikings was, if you look at all their players, like their RAS scores were insane. I think that was kind of what they were looking for in this draft, was pure athleticism. Like Ingram Dawkins 9.79, Ty Felton 9.2, which was yeah. Here's the tweet. The Vikings had the second highest RAS average of the 2025 draft class. Donovan Jackson 8.9, Felton 9.2, Ingram Dawkins 9.79, Kobe King 8.02, Bartholomew 8.87. But yeah, I mean, I get it. I guess they're trying to get athletic, but they also just, again, we're in a tough spot. They walked in the draft with 4 picks. I wanted corner. Obviously, I mentioned it over and over again. I wanted a corner. I wanted to also get a safety. And I think what also hurt was not getting, like a guy, like I mentioned earlier in the show, not getting a Kobe Bryant in UDFA. Like, I know they got, like, what's his name? Keenan Garber, corner from Kansas State. And then they got a Samaya Vaughn, corner from Utah. And then a safety from Miami in UDFA. But I felt like, I feel like they missed out on guys that were available. Like, I love Dorian Strong, and they didn't take him. I liked Billy Bowman in the third, and they didn't take him. Oh wait, no, it wasn't Billy Bowman. It was another safety. Anyway, but yeah, I just felt like they left needs on the board, and I guess trading for Sam Howell was kind of how they justified not drafting quarterback. But I don't know. It was weird. I'm justifying it, and I'm kind of getting it. I'm kind of understanding it the more I talk through it, but still, it's like not a lot of draft picks. I thought they did okay with the UDF class, but nothing else really.
Yeah. Right there. And the I wasn't the biggest fan of the Gavin Bartholomew pick at the end either.
Mm-hmm.
But they did need tight end for the future. Hawks getting up there now. But all right, the last one I didn't like was the Bucks. Why didn't I like the Bucks? Partly because they didn't fill a lot of my needs. I didn't have wide receiver till 6th, and they got 2. Now, I love Emeka Egbuka. Absolutely. Before the DK Metcalf trade, I wanted him for the Steelers. Regardless, I thought he would have been a great addition for other teams like the Chargers or the Broncos, or even the Titans would have been a home run if he would have slipped to the second round. But I didn't see it in round 1, especially when I have safety as my number 1 need, man. And you're sitting there at 19. Both Malachi Starks and Nick Eamon-Worry were on the board. I didn't understand. I thought safety, they should have went there. Even so, even if they didn't go safety, linebacker was my number 2 need. Jahad Campbell was sitting there. So I don't know why they didn't go that. I didn't like the first round selection position wise. Love the player, not the position. I did like the 2 corner selections though. Ben Morrison, really in the second round, I thought was excellent. Jacob Parrish is okay. I didn't watch a ton about him, but slot corner, I think, in my mind, if I'm correct on the size here, 5'10", 191, probably slot, yeah. And then they went to edge, which I didn't have edge as a need. And Elijah Roberts, by the way, is not an edge. He's an interior D line in my mind because he's 285. So I I did not see him as a stand up outside linebacker in the Todd Bowles 3-4 system. At 285 pounds, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, Jimmy. I don't know. David Walker, though, I thought was a steal in the 4th round, even though I didn't have edge. And then they drafted another wide receiver. Then I love Tez Johnson again. I love the players that they got. I didn't love that they didn't draft some of the other positions that I thought very much was a need. They didn't draft any O-line. I thought they needed depth at both tackle and interior. Didn't draft the tight end, which I thought they needed depth behind Kate Otten. And then quarterback. I mean, are they going to have someone after Baker or not? I don't know. Because they re-signed Kyle Trask, but he has not worked out so far as a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what Tampa really. And the thing is, too, again, I love Ibuka, but let's say they do go, Starks or, Imanwari 1st round. In the 2nd round, if you look, after Benjamin Morrison, look at the wide receivers available. Trey Harris, Jack Besh, top of the 3rd round real quick. You had Kyle Williams still available, Pat Bryant. I mean, they're a wide receiver. Savion Williams. There are a ton of wide receivers still available. Ty Felton. I get it. Ibuka is probably better than all the wide receivers I just mentioned, but I think those guys I just mentioned could have been very, very productive and very good for the Bucs with Imanwari or Starks. So, yeah, I'm with you on this one. I felt the Ibuka draft pick, I think that was one of the first really, really big shocks.
Yeah, that was one of my head scratchers. I don't really have guys off the top of my head that were best value picks. You can go with my birds. I mean, getting Jahad Campbell at 31, I thought was fantastic. The Chiefs also, Josh Simmons at 32 was really solid value, I thought. And just looking at the rest of round 1, I mean, you already mentioned Tyler Warren, the Colts not having to trade up.
Oh, yeah.
Was wild. I thought the Jalen Walker at 15 to Atlanta was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't really have other value picks, I don't think, in the first anyways.
No, I don't think the 1st round this year had a ton of value. I think people kind of stuck where they wanted. I thought O'Marion Hampton at 22 was really good value. Sure, it's a running back. It's not, it's not the 1st round pick value, but I thought it was pretty good. I did like Maxwell Hairston to Buffalo at 30, especially with the news about Will Johnson's knee.
That was one of my values that I was going to say.
I mean, I want to say Will Johnson's a good value pick, but you and I have both seen the procedure he went through with that knee. Like, I think Will Johnson is the ultimate boom or bust pick in this draft. He's either going to be the biggest steal or everyone's going to go, or his career is going to be over in like 2 seasons because his knee can't hold up.
Yeah, loved it. Loved it for Arizona and Coach Gannon there. Yeah, the Falcons was another one that I hated, by the way. I forgot to say that.
Yeah, trading a 1st round pick next year for the 26th pick and getting James Pierce Jr., that was strange.
No, it was horrendous. Absolutely horrendous value. And they also were like the Vikings. They only had 5 picks. I get it. You needed edge. I understand. That was my number 1 need. But you already got one. Jalen Walker. I did not see the value, especially having to trade a first rounder next year for James Pierce. I would have traded a first rounder to move up to get Jalen Walker. Yes, I would have. But to get James Pierce, no. Not when I believe he would have been there further back. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't.
But I mean, I don't disagree. It's not just James Pierce. It's other edge rushers in the second round that I think they could have probably gotten as a Raku, JT Tuimau, Scorton, Oladejo, and Mike Green. I mean, there was a ton that they could have waited for. Maybe they really wanted Pierce Jr. and he was their guy, and I get it. And, you know, in the draft, you got to get your guy. But look at the Giants. You know, they traded up and they didn't give up a first round pick next year. And they traded up a spot ahead of the Falcons. Like that's just really weird.
And for a quarterback.
Yeah,
which
and a quarterback, you know, that's a position of value. And I do have one more, like, I didn't like what you did thing. Not like a bad draft, but like I don't like what this team did.
Well, I'm not done with Atlanta yet.
Oh, okay, go ahead. I'll hold my tongue.
Yeah, the other thing with Atlanta, you know, I had corner as a need, and I clicked it off because apparently Billy Bowman's going to play nickel. The only reason I have more than one position checked off for Atlanta on my needs, but otherwise I didn't get it. Two safeties, which Billy Bowman was coming into this draft, nickel corner. I don't know, maybe. Again, I love these players, man. Billy Bowman, I absolutely love Billy Bowman.
I wanted them at 100 for the Vikings. I was screaming for it.
But you know, it's like you're drafting safety, and I don't see it. I didn't have safety on my board. I didn't have tackle on my board either. And they went with Jack Nelson out of Wisconsin in the 7th round. So I don't know.
And to rally on that, it's like if you want a nickel, like, why don't you get a guy that played nickel for 2 years? Like now you're just like you're gonna try to convert this kid at the NFL level to learn how to play nickel. That's ballsy, man. I mean, unless you know more, like if you knew if Billy Bowman played nickel at times in Oklahoma, I don't know if he did that, but like I don't know. Again, it's weird. I don't like the idea of drafting a guy and be like, oh, you're gonna switch positions.
Yep. All right, you go ahead. What was your other one?
Okay, so this isn't a dislike their draft class because I actually do like their draft class. They just did something that I thought was really short-sighted. Sometimes it's why teams just need to stick and pick at times. The Bears pissed me off as they kept trading back. I think you noticed like 2 or 3 times they were waiting on a running back, a pick or two before them picked a running back, and then he traded back. Like TreVeyon Henderson in the second round, they traded back. And then other running backs got traded and they traded back. And they didn't pick a running back, which I think you and I also had like running back depth as a need. They didn't pick one until the 7th round, and Kyle Monangai is how you say it, running back from Rutgers.
Yeah, Monangai. Yeah.
Monangai. I mean, I think he's good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a really solid running back, but it was just one of those situations where it's like, hey, sometimes you just got to stick and pick. Sometimes you just got to be like, all right, like, would it be a reach if I took a running back here? Sure, but I got to take it. Like, at 41, I think they could have gotten, like, Caleb Johnson. Like, that would have made sense. Like, Caleb Johnson. And I don't think it'd been a reach at 41 to take Caleb Johnson. I really don't, but they traded back immediately. It's just, and they kept doing it, and they kept trading back, and they kept trading back, and they put them, it felt like they just put themselves in positions like, ah, crap, we didn't get our running back into our last pick, so we got to get the best available 7th rounder. When you could have gotten a running back who, sure, maybe was a 6th round value in the 4th round, but still got a better running back. So I don't hate their draft class, obviously. I think Colson Loveland is fine. There was a little bit of shock to Loveland over Warren, but Ben Johnson knows tight ends like the back of his hand, so if he wants a guy, he gets it. Like I like Luther Bird in 2nd, Turner in a 2nd, and I like Zoff Frazier in the 5th. But yeah, I felt like they took too long. They should not have kept trading back and being like, oh, we'll just throw getting a running back later and just get value for this pick. It's like, okay, I get it. You get value, but you're not getting the guy you want.
Yeah, other value ones just going through the rounds here. Tate Ratledge to Detroit at 57. Love that one. Slides right in to the Kevin Zeitler spot there. Trey Amos at 61 to Washington was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Third round, Darius Alexander to the Giants. I really liked what the Giants did. I didn't mention them as one of my top teams because I hate the Giants, but I loved all their players of the draft that I hated it, but they really did a good job trying to save their jobs. Landon Jackson, Buffalo at 72, I thought was awesome. Siobhan Ravel to the Cowboys at 76. Kevin Winston, you mentioned Titans at 82 was ridiculous value. I'm not going to call Jalen Milroe at 92 to Seattle a value. Jared Wilson, the Patriots at 95 was awesome. Let's go to the 4th here. Scadaboo, again, another Giants pick. And Scadaboo to the Giants at 105. I thought was wild. Loved the Eagles, Ty Robinson at 111. Danny Stutzman to the Saints at 112 was also very good. We just talked about Billy Bone to Atlanta. Didn't like the fit, but 118, very good value for Atlanta. What else here? L.K. O'Manor, you mentioned earlier with Tennessee, 136. Very good. 5th round. I thought Carson Benson tackle to the Ravens at 141 at Alabama A&M was good. Riley Mills, the Seahawks, 142 out of Notre Dame. I really liked. Liked him a lot. I didn't really like a lot of the 5th round, to be honest. John's guy, Marcus Bowe, went to the Giants at 154. Gosh, I keep talking about the Giants, man. My boy Smile Munden, man, the Eagles, 161. How he couldn't fight his itch off. He had to draft a Georgia player.
Yeah, he drafted an Alabama linebacker in the 1st round. He's like, I can't do this. Feels wrong.
Actually, this 6-pick run here in the 5th round, I loved. Smile Munden to the Eagles, Francisco Mauigoa to the Jets at 162, Mitchell Evans, tight end from Notre Dame to the Panthers, Yaya Black to the Steelers at 164, D-tackle at Iowa, Aronde Gadsden, tight end to Syracuse to the Chargers, and then Torrey Horton, wideout out of Colorado State to Seahawks, 166. John got his guy. I know you liked Jackson Slater, the Titans there at 167. Tyler Barron to the Jets at 176, I thought was wild. 6th round. Your boy Dorian Strong, the Bills at 177.
Dude, I can't believe it got to 177. I'm blown away that it got to 177.
The 6th round was wild this year.
6th round was insanity in terms of value.
I didn't like the fit, but Ollie Gordon to the Dolphins at 179. JJ Pegues to the Raiders at 180. They did a good job beefing up the interior. Love it. Kyle McCord, man, to the Eagles, 181. Every year, man, draft a quarterback. That's the philosophy. Will Howard to the Steelers at 185. I would have rather had Kyle McCord, but okay. Again, another quarterback, Riley Leonard to the Colts, 189. Thought was great. Taj Brooks to the Bengals at 193. I liked a lot. Ahmad Hassanine, Boise State edge, the Lions at 196. Raywan Lane to the Jags, 200. Right before the Vikings. Safety
Thanks.
right before him.
Thanks for the reminder.
Boy,
I would have loved.
Johnny Cornelius, tackle out of Oregon to the Cowboys at 204. I like that one a lot. Eagles, Cam Williams out of Texas, tackle 207. And then the Eagles went back and got another ridiculous value. APR, Antoine Powell Ryland, edge rusher out of Virginia Tech at 209. I mentioned Denias Peebles, the Ravens at 210. Robert Longerbeam to the Ravens at 212. Love the the quarterback picks for Vegas. Oh, I guess he is listed as wide receiver now. Tommy Mellott, 213 out of Montana State. Cam Miller, North Dakota State to the Raiders. And again, Jeremy Crawshaw. He was my favorite punter in this year's draft out of Florida to the Broncos at 216. It's not really a value pick. It's on brand, but I thought he's the best punter by far. And I think he's the only punter drafted, right? Again, the Giants, Thomas Fidone out of Nebraska. I saw him at Senior Bowl. He moves very well. Cody Lindenberg to the Raiders, linebacker out of Minnesota, 222. Damian Martinez in the 7th to Seattle, 223. Running back out of Miami. Keaton Crawford, safety out of Nevada, the Cardinals, 225. 49ers, man, they're doing it again. Curtis Rourke, QB out of Indiana, 227. I really loved that one. My boy Dan Jackson went to the Lions, 230th out of Georgia. How about Quinn Ewers going to the Dolphins at 231? That was wild that he lasted that long. That's also wild. Hunter Wohler's listed as a linebacker out of Wisconsin, 232. I liked him as a safety, but I don't know. You mentioned Kyle Monangai to the Bears, 233. I like that one a lot. Tez Johnson, the Bucks, 235. Hate the team fit, but love the player and the value there. Ricky White, John Seahawks got a ridiculous wide receiver at 238 out of UNLV. I like the Dellinger pick for the Ravens at 243. And that might have been it. Oh, no. Last one. Actually, yeah. Last one I'll talk about. Junior Bergen of the 49ers. 252nd overall selection. Wide receiver out of Montana. I'm telling you, Jimmy, this kid is ridiculous in the return game. He had I don't even know how many punt and kick returns in college. He had four return touchdowns in a year or something like that. 5, maybe it was. I know he had 2 in one game that I watched in a playoff game for Montana.
Damn.
Yeah. He did it once. And the other team was dumb enough to punt it to him again. He did it again. Anyways, last thing, I'm at 21%, and we're getting now on time here. Head scratching selections. I don't really know the James Pierce one was the one that's definitely the top one for me.
Yeah, I think one for me, and this is not to say this team should have drafted Shedeur Sanders, but I think Kelvin Banks at 9 was kind of shocked at. I know they need offensive line, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like Banks, I don't think he's a top 10 pick kind of player.
I liked it. They tackle was definitely a big need. Mm-hmm. Loved that they got Tyler Shuff. Tyler Shuff was one of my favorite quarterbacks in this year's class. Him and Dart at the top there, but yeah, I was perfectly fine with it. I'll just say, I know I tweeted this out already, but teams, head scratchers for teams that had number one needs left on the board for me that I'll say were really bad that they didn't draft this position. Cleveland and Dallas to wide receiver. I mean, I don't know why they rejected that position this year. More so Dallas than Cleveland, but the Cleveland I thought was a big need as well, because it's Jerry Jeudy and a bunch of other guys that haven't really worked out as draft picks. So, the Dallas though, I have no clue. CeeDee Lamb has no help. No help. Another one that was big that went undrafted. I mean, obviously, I mentioned the Vikings secondary. Giants tackle. They didn't draft the tackle, man. I guess Evan Neal's the guy still. I guess he's working out fine. Good luck, Russell Wilson. And James Winston and Jackson Dart. And then, my Steelers not going early for a corner. I thought that should have been a priority. I love the Derek Harmon pick, but that was an interesting one. 49ers, I know this is my fifth need, but tackle. They didn't get anyone to put in the pipeline to maybe be the successor to Trent Williams. I already talked about Tampa. Tennessee not getting a tackle as well. All right. Guess they're going in with Dan Moore. Good luck, Cam Ward. Sure. And the last big glaring one was Washington. Washington not getting an edge rusher at all. That position is totally devoid of talent. Dorrance Armstrong did not really work out last year as a free agent acquisition, a big-time free agent acquisition. But, that I don't know where they're going edge rush-wise this year. So maybe there could be still some stuff in the works. Obviously, Trey Hendrickson didn't get traded yet, so I don't know. All right, that's a show for today. I was seeing some stuff, but I don't think it was any NFL stuff per se. Nothing there. By the way, Sacramento State, there's even more buzz now for the Hornets there. Shaq is the new men's basketball general manager at Sacramento State. I hope he stays on TV, man. I enjoy him and Barkley on TV together.
Yeah, I wonder if this has anything to do with NBA on TNT. Might be. Did they renew that? There's been rumors about that going away.
I don't know. I don't watch it enough.
I think there was something about that show being canceled.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe this is like a post NBA on TNT kind of thing for him.
Sacramento State, though, on the come up, apparently. Anyways, that's the show for today. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast, Instagram and X, FAA_bets on X as well, FAApodcast.com's website. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TikTok at FAA.podcast. And next Monday, we'll talk UFL Week 6 recap. It's going to be the shows are probably going to be a little bit more condensed coming up the next couple weeks. I'm gonna wait. We're gonna wait to start doing our season previews until after we get the schedule on May 14th. So once that happens, then we'll start doing we'll do 2 teams each show for the season previews, and then obviously that'll take a couple weeks, and then we'll get into our college conference previews, and before you know it, it'll be July 31st, and we'll be watching football again, Jimmy. NFL football, I should say. UFL football is still going on right now. All right, guys. Appreciate it. And we will see y'all back on Friday.